a high-class sushi restaurant with private booths and sleek modern interior design. After the waiter dropped off the menus, bound in leather backs and golden trimmings, the man pushed one to John. "Here," he said. "Choose whatever you want." John picked up the menu and opened it. "Generous, are we?" The man didn't respond, simply waiting for John to decide. John didn't know what was good, so he just chose some tuna rolls and sashimi. After the waiter came back and took their orders, the man put his arms on the table and crossed his fingers. "So, where are you from?" John took a sip from his glass of water and said, "Does it matter?" "I suppose it doesn't." The man muttered and shook his head. "Well, I guess we should start with introductions." The man lowered his arms again and bowed his head. "My name is Jin Kai." "Ah, I suppose to you it would be Kai Jin." "Yours?" "John Smith." The man, Kai, blinked and then said, "A fake name?" John took another sip from his water and said, "A bit generic, but it is what it is." Kai gave John an evaluating glance and then said, "Well, Mr. Smith, as I said, I have a business proposal to present to you." John set his glass down and nodded. "Right. You mentioned something that only a foreigner could do." "That would be ideal, yes. But what matters the most is the appearance rather than the origin." Kai stared at John and said, "From your excellent Japanese, I assume you aren't a mere tourist." Something like that." "Secretive, I see. Well, that's fair." The waiter came back with the men's orders. Kai had a simple miso soup and some unagi. As for John, he had a platter of red and white tuna meat, as well as some hand rolls. John stared at the food for a bit, and then glanced at Kai. The man waved his hand and said, "Go ahead. No need to be polite." "Then I'll start." John took a pair of chopsticks and then picked up a piece of tuna. "I'll cut it short," Kai said. "I want you to be the manager of an idol company." John froze, causing the piece of tuna in his chopsticks to fall back to his platey. "Pardon?" Kai took a piece of his unagi and ate it. After, he said, "You heard me correctly. I have an idol company that I want to hand over." Well, the facilities needed to run an idol company at least. The studio, computers, recording equipment, and the like. "And you want me to run it?" A shady man like that owning an idol company. John's mind could only jump to conclusions. It had been a while ago, but he heard of rumors about those abusive idol practices. John shook his head and said, "I'm not getting involved with anything like that." Kai took a sip from his soup and said, "If you're concerned about the legality, I can assure you that it was all proper. Admittedly, a few of the talents were placed in stressful situations, but there was never any criminal marks against our company." "Uh-huh." That was what all shady businessmen said. "And why do you want to pass off your business then? And to a foreigner, no less?" Kai was quiet, and then said, "Let's just say I had a change of heart recently. That, and I need money as quickly as I can get it." "And you think I have the funds to do so?" "Yes, otherwise I wouldn't have called out to you." Kai smiled and said, "Call it the experience of age. You hide it well, but there's no mistaking your aura of business acumen." John doubted that. Kai hid it well and had sound reasonings. But John could detect faint traces of desperation behind his words. At the least, it seemed that he truly needed to turn over the business. "An idol company, huh?" John muttered. He didn't know the least thing about idols. Well, that wasn't true. He had an inkling about it from his faint memories before his departure, but only so much as remembering they were singers and dancers, and usually attractive young women. Kai nodded. "That's right, although you would be free to change it if you desired. All that I am offering is the facilities and office space. There isn't anything binding you to continue that sort of business." John nodded. It shouldn't be too hard, and he was wondering what to do with his time on Earth. "In that case, will you do it?" John sighed. If you're that insistent about it, I might as well. In the worst-case scenario, he could turn time back, or send a message to his past self to not go through with it. Kai's stern face cracked with a smile again. At the same time, the faint tension in his body faded, clearly relieved. Good. In that case. He leaned over to the side and pulled out a briefcase. John blinked and then let out a bitter laugh. You came prepared, I see. Kai stacked some papers on the table and said, It's necessary to strike while the iron is hot. Now, if you would just sign here and here,